From the combined newsrooms of KARK4 and Fox 16, breaking news coverage.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on KARK.com and Fox16.com, covering breaking news out of South Arkansas. An explosion has killed one person, caused an evacuation in that area. Suzanne, this is, you made the point on Facebook Live, and I think this is very important. Some of these pictures don't really do justice what we've seen, but the aftermath picture paints a pretty stark picture when you see the crater left behind from this explosion. It
really does. I had to actually talk to a spokesperson with RDOT to confirm it was actually 15 feet. You can see it right here. This is from Camden Electric Cooperative, an aerial view of that crater. It was reported 15 feet, but when you look at it, it looks larger than that, but he said 15 feet.
I'm wondering if it's 15 feet across, because that's much further. I mean, that's over the entire roadway. And if we can, Steve, I know is in the back. Steve, if you can start that video one more time for me. Take a look at the road itself. It's covered in grass.
Yes. So when the pictures started coming through, I know there were some questions like, is this a road or was this on the side of a road? Because you don't really see the road. I mean, this is how intense that explosion was. But as this aerial view starts to pan out.
So pause it here.
You can see the road.
That's wild.
But it was so strong. If you look at the nearby trees, they were basically snapped in half. Just a row of them.
All right. So here's what we know happened. It was right before 7 o'clock. There was a hopper truck that was carrying ammonia nitrate, which is common in fertilizer.
Yeah.
They were carrying this. They had an accident. The accident didn't cause the explosion, from what we've been told.
Right.
So after the accident, there was an explosion. Quickly, and I got to give a lot of credit to emergency management teams. They evacuated a mile area around that site. They did a great job on that. But that's what we know. There was an explosion. There was some damage caused. There's been homes that have been destroyed, from what we've been told in that area. This is a very serious situation as you're looking at some of the aftermath. But a truck had an accident with ammonia nitrate on board, and it exploded.
Yeah. Again, this was on Highway 278 in Ouachita County. This is the aftermath of that. You can see this is on the other side of the crater. Look at that, Aaron. When you look at how tall like the people are on the other side, it just really shows perspective of how big this crater is. This is about west, I think about 1.3 miles east of Highway 57. And this happened west of Camden. So we're getting a lot of pictures in. When we were bringing this story to you on Facebook Live, a lot of our viewers were telling us where they're at, where they were at when it happened, and that they were feeling something, and they thought it was like thunder. They didn't know what it was, or that something fell over. And now they realize that this could have been the trigger and what they had felt.
I want to read some comments on Facebook. This is from folks who were there close to the scene. Conrad tells me his father-in-law's home and his son's home are ruined. They're half a mile away from the explosion site. And when we talk about ammonia nitrate, this is not just fertilizer. Ammonia nitrate, let me be quite honest with you, it's in bombs. It is an explosive material. When you expose that combustible material to sparks, to fire, you get these massive plumes of smoke like you saw here from Ouachita County. Very dangerous, very scary stuff. But again, I got to commend emergency management teams for being on the scene, for forcing that evacuation. But I also want to point out one other thing, Suzanne. We have had 80 EM crews tell us, and that's the emergency department, tell us that there have been reports of feeling this explosion 50 to 60 miles away.
That tells you how strong that explosion was.
That's into Louisiana.
Wow. And we were told that hazmat crews were on scene because you're talking about ammonium nitrate. I did call ADEQ. People on Facebook were concerned about, okay, well, if I live nearby, is this something I should be breathing? Because you look at a plume of smoke like that, that's something you don't want to be breathing in. I'm still waiting to hear back from them. Spoke with a couple people who just kept referring me down the line, but still waiting to hear back from them. This is one of the first images that came out online on Highway 278. This was from MedPro. I'll try to get that.
The ambulance service is there.
Service.
It's a private ambulance service in that area.
ProMed ambulance.
Our Stephanie Sharp was the first person who kind of got these pictures and started this process. Again, probably about 7:15, 7:20, somewhere around in there. We started making calls.
Yeah.
But these drone footage here from Ouachita Electric Co-ops really shows a lot as what we're dealing with. And if we can pause it for a second right there, guys. Can we pause it? Just pause it. Take a look at your screen. And if you're on a smart device or you're on your iPad, I know it may be tough to see, but what you're looking at Highway 287, an important road that's going through Camden, through Ouachita County. That road is covered in grass and dirt. There is a crater through the middle of that road. The asphalt is gone. The trees around that area look like a tornado came through. You can see the blast, definitely, obviously, we've got the proof to show you. It went up, ripping the limbs, the trees off those trees. It's amazing to me. It really is. It is a big story. We've had tens of thousands of people tune in on Facebook Live, and so we wanted to bring it to you here on KARK.com and Fox16.com. And again, we can tell you, unfortunately, one person has died as a result of this wreck that led to an explosion. Who that person is or how that person may have died, we're not sure yet. As we get more information, of course, we will bring it to you, and we will have Stephanie Sharp live. Make sure you follow her on social media. Yeah,
this is in South Arkansas, just to let you know exactly where this accident occurred. This is west of Camden on Highway 278. That is in between Highway 57 and Highway 24. So if this is your regular commute home, or if you're just happen to be driving through the area or know someone who is, please let them know about this. And you're going to want to avoid this piece of roadway here. Obviously, you can't go through it. But on iDrive Arkansas, it's reporting that it's going to be closed for about 4 to 5 hours minimum. I can see that expanded.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a little bit longer.
For quite a long time. So as you can see here, we pulled up this picture again because this just shows. I mean, when we first saw this, Aaron, I was speechless. I mean, this is just. I said it before. Sometimes pictures don't do it justice, but wow, that really just puts it in perspective.
Well, I'm continuing to go through the Facebook comments that we've gotten, and we would love for you to continue to chat with us here on KARK.com and Fox16.com or on our Facebook pages. Keely says, my kids ride that bus. So the bus and some of the pictures, and she tells us her kids are the first ones that the bus driver picks up. We were about 1 mile to 2 miles away when it happened. Taylor is telling us it was a Camden Fairview school bus. We told you about that. The driver is okay, and according to Taylor, is at work. So that's good news, but a lot of people are feeling this. I think these images will continue to shock us, Suzanne, as we're going to look at some buildings, some homes that we're being told are destroyed here in the next probably hour when Stephanie gets down there.
You know, we were talking about, I guess, the distance in terms of how people, where people were at when they felt this. Jane says that it was felt in Crossett, 70 miles away. So that she said it was reported.
Tara says you could see the energy in the air going by my house near Stevens. And you've covered tornadoes, I've covered tornadoes. The energy in the air, it is a real thing. You can tell that. And I'm assuming in those moments, and an explosion probably lasts a little bit longer than a tornado. If you think about it, a tornado will go through, but this explosion probably hit, and then you see the plume and you see the aftermath. There was some kind of energy moving away from that area, or they wouldn't have evacuated people from a mile around.
You know, I have been on the scene of a situation kind of similar to this, where this was in California. I was along the highway. A chunk of the highway fell into the ocean. So I've seen something like this firsthand. And while they say it's not that big, it looks very big in person. And it's going to take a while to repair. They haven't told us, how long it's going to take, but it's going to take a while to repair. We're still trying to get some images into our newsroom about this. We do have a crew on the way to the scene as well, so we should have a live report at our noon show.
Yeah, so this was a hopper truck is what we have been able to confirm in our newsroom. And that's not going to be a covered truck. That's getting from point A to point B relatively quickly. A lot of different people have said different things what happened to the truck before the accident. We don't know exactly what happened. We do know that there was an accident, and inside that truck was ammonium nitrate, and which again is common in fertilizer. We assume it was a fertilizer truck, and that wreck caused the explosion. If we can go back one picture very quickly, I want to show you something. All right, so right in the middle of your screen, you can see the school bus. I've been told that there was a school bus driver that was treated for injuries on that school bus, but no kids, and that possibly windows were blown out of that school bus, which I can assume. I've also been told that sheriff department vehicles and emergency responders vehicles, there were, windows blown out in that of those cars as well. It's amazing. It really is amazing that we're not talking about mass casualties. Taking nothing away, it's horrible that one person has died.
Yeah.
But the emergency management team
they did a phenomenal job out there. They did. And our assistant news director, he did speak with the sheriff's office, who said that they didn't have any reports of damages to their building or anything like that. People online have been asking us, how long will this evacuation last? We do know that there is about a half a mile to a mile perimeter around this. Have you heard anything on evacuations? I have been trying to make some calls on that, Aaron.
No.
What's going on with that? I know some people in El Dorado are pretty concerned, and they're confused, because there's a lot of information coming in.
No, I'm reading an update right now from Camden News from 9:45, giving us a little bit more information on who died. Lindsay is our executive producer. She's going to make this call. Lindsay, if I attribute this to Camden News, are you okay with me giving this out? Okay. So according to Camden News, the driver of the truck died at the scene. The victim's name will not be released right now. Prayers are with the family. This according to Camden News. This is the first time, if we can come back here on camera, this is the first time that we have heard who the individual who died was. According to this post from Camden News, again, this is from Camden News, it was the driver of the truck who died at the scene.
And just a very sad story this morning down in South Arkansas. Tony says that he lives in Camden, which is not too far from where this happened. He said he heard a massive boom and then an enormous growing rumble. The windows began shaking and then the floor started vibrating. After several seconds, it became alarming as to what was causing such an unusual effect. It sounds like what he's describing here sounds like an earthquake,
Yeah.
But I can imagine just a very scary situation for a lot of people, a lot of questions as to what just happened.
Yeah. We haven't heard if any other vehicles were involved in this accident at this point, Suzanne. I don't know that, to be honest, and we can assume from the pictures that we see. We don't like to assume in our business. But this is a very serious situation that happened. One person has died, and there have been homes that are, from what I've been told on Facebook, destroyed.
Yeah.
And we're talking, I can't really put into words what I'm trying to say right now, because it's a vehicle accident that led to an explosion. That explosion sent out blast waves that destroyed homes.
It's kind of hard to even wrap your mind around. I
can't.
We're talking about how far this was felt. This was in Arkansas, right? Ashlyn is from Spearsville, Louisiana, and felt it. It shook her house. Amber says, what about the hazard of it being in the air? We're talking about ammonium nitrate. And like I said earlier, try to call ADEQ, because, this is something that they would probably be a little more knowledgeable on. How is this going to affect the air quality? Should people be concerned? Still waiting to hear on that.
I'm going to make an assumption, and I just told you I'm not supposed to do this, but I can also look at facts, and I can make a pretty good theory
Probably shouldn't
here.
be reading that.
If we can go back to the video, Steve, very quickly, I'm going to point out something. In that video, you can see here, none of our emergency management, who did a fantastic job, none of our law enforcement personnel are wearing hazmat suits. If they're not and they're there, we're okay.
Yeah, should be fine.
We're okay.
And they're probably going to be wearing a hazmat suit if they're going to be handling anything out there on scene.
But air quality.
Air quality.
Looking at that and looking at the fact that they're not wearing anything, I think we're okay.
Yeah. I want to pull up some other pictures if we do have it. We look at the roadway, but you got to look at the trees too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, wow. The trees are basically, some of them are uprooted. Some of them are, you can see there on the top corner of your screen on the right, and now it's on your right and left, but these trees were basically snapped in half. I mean, a line of them. This is going to definitely take a while to clean up and to repair. And we'll definitely keep you updated as we learn some more information. But at this point, a lot of people have been hearing about this just by sharing this information online. That's how we've been getting our pictures.
Yeah.
This is how we've been getting in touch with people at home as to where they felt it at. I mean, it is amazing just how far this has gone.
Well, when you talk about how far, we're talking 60 miles.
Yeah.
We're talking crossing state lines when you're 50 miles away from the closest state line. This explosion, that plume, it's really affecting all of us. Look, sometimes when we've reported some information here and we've been able to break a little bit of information here for you, looking at the plume of smoke, somewhat of what you would expect. But when we start showing you the pictures on the ground, Suzanne, it's tough for me to really talk about what we're seeing, because that's a 2-lane highway. I mean,
it spans larger than that.
I mean, there's a lot of work that's going to have to be done. And then you brought this up. You look at the trees around it. You can only imagine the magnitude of the explosion.
How close were the homes?
I don't want to say bomb, but that's as close as I think a lot of people are ever going to get to feeling a bomb. And that's what ammonium nitrate is used for sometimes.
Yeah, this is a very serious situation. I was calling a number of fire departments out there nearby the scene. It was busy signal. I couldn't reach anybody.
Yeah.
When I did reach out to one of them, she said, "I'm sorry, everybody's out on scene. I don't know anything right now. I don't even have their numbers because I don't know who's out there." So this is all hands on deck. Everybody involved trying to make sure the scene is secure, that everyone's okay, and bringing us as much information as possible.
I think this is a good point for us to wrap up here on KARK.com and Fox16.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll definitely have more information. Make sure you follow Stephanie Sharp on Facebook and Twitter. She'll be updating you with information there.
Yeah. All right, guys, thanks so much. And of course, we'll keep you updated throughout the day, so be sure to visit our websites, KARK.com and Fox16.com.